Have you ever looked at a situation and just thought to yourself, there is absolutely no way this ends well? Well, that is exactly what everyone was thinking when Wyatt Spencer and Katie Logan first started looking at each other with that certain spark in their eyes. It's one of those storylines that still gets fans talking today because it wasn't just a simple romance. It was a total earthquake for the Spencer family. I mean, think about it for a second. Wyatt is dating his father's ex-wife, the same woman who is the mother of his little brother, Will. It is messy, it is complicated, and honestly it is exactly why we love our soaps, right? But was this just a huge mistake fueled by the sun in Monte Carlo? Or was there something much deeper going on with Wyatt? Maybe he was tired of always being the other son, and wanted to take something back from his dad. The whole thing really kicked off in Monte Carlo during a fashion show. You have to remember the vibe back then. Wyatt and Katie were working together, and the chemistry was just undeniable. Darren Brooks and Heather Tom have this incredible spark on screen that made fans really root for them, even if the situation was a little out there. They were riding high on the success of the show, and in a heat of the moment move they kissed. Now they both knew better. They even talked about how weird it was since Katie is Bill's ex and Wyatt is his son. But that didn't stop them. They kept kissing again and again, and eventually they ended up in bed together. It's funny because they tried so hard to act like it was no strings attached. But we all know that never works out on this show. Why do you think Wyatt went for it? If you look at his history, he's always been in Liam's shadow when it comes to their dad, Bill. By pursuing Katie, he was stepping into a role that Bill failed at. He was becoming the support system for Katie that Bill never really was. And for Katie, think about how much Bill had hurt her, especially with her own sister, Brooke. Being with Wyatt was almost like a quiet way to reclaim her power. She wasn't just Bill's ex anymore. She was the woman who could make Bill's own son choose her over his father's approval. But man, the secrecy they had to maintain was intense. There was this one time they were in bed together, and Bill actually showed up at Katie's house. Katie had to hide Wyatt, and Bill actually sat there wishing her happiness with whoever she was seeing, totally clueless that his own son was a few feet away. Can you imagine the adrenaline in that room? The funny thing is, it wasn't Bill who caught them first. It was actually Eric Forrester who saw them kissing. Eric, being the class act he is, promised to keep it quiet. But then came Wyatt's mom, Quinn Fuller. Now we all know Quinn doesn't do discretion. She caught them in bed and literally dragged Katie out of the covers and started threatening her. Quinn was terrified that this would ruin Wyatt's life because she knows how destructive Bill can be. She's always fought to make Wyatt respectable, and in her mind, sleeping with Katie was a one-way ticket to being an outcast. Wyatt actually had to tell his own mother that if she didn't accept it, she wasn't welcome in his life. That's a huge move for Wyatt. It shows he was actually falling in love, even if he was telling Liam it was just no strings attached. But then things got even more complicated when Thorne Forrester showed up. Do you remember that scene with the telescope? Wyatt was at Katie's place, looking through a telescope at Brooke and Ridge's wedding, and he saw Katie kissing Thorne. He felt totally betrayed. It's that classic Spencer insecurity coming out. He immediately wanted to break up because he felt like he was losing her to another man, just like he always felt he was losing Bill's respect to Liam. Thorne even tried to sabotage them by deleting a text message Wyatt sent to Katie to try and fix things. It just goes to show that everyone in this circle is a bit of a manipulator when they want something. Eventually, Wyatt and Katie realized they couldn't keep living a lie. They got engaged and decided to walk right into Bill's office and tell him the truth. Now ask yourself, what did they think was going to happen? Did they really think Dollar Bill was going to give them his blessing? Bill was absolutely blindsided. The sources describe it as a quiet fury. He didn't just yell. He went for the jugular. He told them they would only marry over his dead body. And then came the most iconic part. Bill literally reached out and tore the Spencer sword necklace off of Wyatt's neck. That necklace is everything to the Spencer men. It's their symbol of being part of the tribe. By ripping it off, Bill was basically disowning him. Bill didn't stop there, though. He started using their son, Will, as a weapon. He threatened to sue Katie for full custody if she didn't leave Wyatt. This is where Bill's true colors really show. He doesn't see people as family. He sees them as assets or liabilities. To him, Katie was a commodity that he still felt he owned, and Wyatt was a subordinate who had staged a corporate-style coup on his personal life. Bill even offered Wyatt a devil's bargain. He told him that if he dropped the wedding, he'd give him a legal document guaranteeing that Wyatt would take over Spencer Publications in 5 years. Think about that. Bill was literally trying to buy his son's love life. And Wyatt, being a Spencer and wanting that CEO chair so badly, actually considered it. They tried to play a game where they pretended to break up but kept seeing each other in secret. But Wyatt even called his dad the fox. And you can't fool a fox for long. Bill remained suspicious and vowed to make them pay, saying he wouldn't let Wyatt become a stepfather to his own brother. The pressure just became too much. Between the custody threats and the professional sabotage, the obstacles were just too big, and they eventually called it quits. It's a sad end for a couple that had so much heat, don't you think? It really proves that in Bill Spencer's world, you either play by his rules or you lose everything. But here is where it gets really interesting for us right now. Fast forward to 2024 and 2026, and Wyatt is back in Los Angeles. Bill has brought him back for this huge power move, involving the Hope Diamond. If you know the show's history, the Hope Diamond is a massive symbol of Spencer power. Bill is using Wyatt to help Katie with her new fashion line at Logan. They are working closely together again, and Bill is acting like he's doing it to help them. But is he really? Or is he setting another trap? Bill is now appreciating Katie again. And there is all this talk about whether Wyatt might have a round 2. If Wyatt starts designing jewelry for Katie's line, they are going to be spending a ton of time together. Do you think the old feelings will come back? I mean, Bill is already getting paranoid and jealous. It's like he's recreating the exact same situation that caused the explosion years ago. Is he doing it to test them, or is he just so arrogant that he thinks he has them under control now? Some fans think it's a huge mistake for Bill to put them in the same room. And honestly, can you blame them? History has a way of repeating itself on this show. And what about the Hope Diamond itself? In the real world, it's this famous blue gem at the Smithsonian that's supposedly cursed. On the show, it's a branding weapon. Bill wants to use it to link the Logan name to the Spencer legacy and stick it to the Forresters. But if Wyatt and Katie reunite because of this diamond, that curse might just be real for the Spencer family. Imagine the fallout if they go public again. Especially now that Bill and Katie have been trying to make things work. Should Wyatt trust Bill's corporate job offer? Have you ever looked at a situation and just thought to yourself, there is absolutely no way this ends well? Well, that is exactly what I'm thinking as I watch Wyatt Spencer look at his dad, Bill, and consider this new corporate job offer. It feels like we've been here before, doesn't it? We're back in the high-stakes world of the Spencer family, and once again, Dollar Bill is dangling the carrot of power in front of his son. But is this really a fresh start? Or is it just history repeating itself in the messiest way possible? I mean, seriously, ask yourself this. If your father had previously ripped a family heirloom off your neck and threatened to sue your fiancé for custody of your own brother just to get you to quit your job, would you ever go back? It sounds like a psychological thriller, but for Wyatt, it's just another day at the office. We have to dive deep into this because this isn't just about a job. It's about whether Wyatt is finally making a power move, or if he's just walking right back into a trap he should have seen coming a mile away. The current situation is absolutely electric because Bill has brought Wyatt back to Los Angeles for what he's calling the Hope Diamond power move. On the surface, it looks like a father wanting his son home to help with a major business expansion. Bill is helping Katie Logan launch her new line at Logan, and he wants Wyatt to be the strategic mind, and maybe even the jewelry designer behind it all. But we have to look at the timing. Why now? This isn't just a random family reunion. This is happening because Eric Forrester chose to design for Katie, which triggered an all-out corporate war between the Spencers and the Forresters. Bill acts like he's doing Wyatt a favor, but in reality, he is recruiting a soldier for a war Wyatt might not even want to fight. Think about it. Bill doesn't just see a son. He sees a high-value asset he can deploy to stick it to Rich Forrester. It's classic Bill. He's not building Wyatt up. He's weaponizing him. To really get why Wyatt shouldn't trust this, we have to talk about the infamous 2018 Wyatt scandal. Remember when Wyatt and Katie were engaged? Bill didn't just disapprove, he went nuclear. He offered Wyatt a legal document promising him the head of the company within 5 years. That sounds like a dream job, right? But the catch was that Wyatt had to leave Katie. This is what I call the devil's bargain. Bill wasn't rewarding Wyatt's talent. He was using the CEO chair as a leash. It shows that in Bill's mind, Corporate positions aren't earned. They are bought with personal sacrifices. If Bill was willing to trade the company's future just to control who his son was with back then, why on earth would anyone believe he's changed now? I honestly think Wyatt is being incredibly naive if he thinks he's coming back on his own terms. He's essentially signing up to be his father's puppet all over again. Wyatt's internal state during these offers is always so complicated and, honestly, a bit tragic. He's spent years feeling like the second-string son compared to Liam. Liam is the golden boy Bill constantly fights for, while Wyatt is often the one left to handle the dirty work. When Bill offers Wyatt a job, Wyatt feels a rush of validation that he's been craving for years. It's an emotional high that totally blinds him to the strings attached. He wants to believe his father finally respects him as an equal, but deep down, there is a hidden insecurity telling him he's only being called back because Bill needs a mini-me to do his bidding. In my opinion, Wyatt is chasing a ghost of a father-son relationship that doesn't exist. He thinks he's earning a seat at the table, but he's really just being given a stool in the corner. Let's talk about the psychological layer of Bill's fox persona. Wyatt himself has called his father a fox, and we all know that foxes don't change their tails. Bill has a deep-seated need for dominance that borders on narcissistic. He views his ex-wives like Katie and his sons like Wyatt as commodities. They are things to be possessed and managed. When Wyatt accepts a job at Spencer, he isn't just signing a contract. He is consenting to Bill's ownership. Bill's ego is so massive it could fill the Grand Canyon, and he cannot stand the idea of anyone under his roof having an independent thought. This job offer for the Hope Diamond project is likely just a way to bring Wyatt back into a sphere where Bill can monitor him. It's about control, plain and simple. And what about the Hope Diamond itself? This is where it gets really interesting. In the real world, that diamond is famous for being cursed. On the show, it's a branding weapon. By bringing Wyatt back to be the face of this diamond, Bill is essentially tagging Wyatt with the Spencer brand again. It's a symbolic reclamation. Just like he once tore the sword necklace off Wyatt's neck to disown him, he's now using the diamond to reown him. It reframes the job offer from a professional opportunity to a brand-building exercise for Bill's own legacy. Is Wyatt a designer? Or is he just a shiny prop for Bill's next press conference? I think the diamond is a metaphor for Wyatt's life. Beautiful, high value, but ultimately owned by someone else. I have to be honest here, Wyatt is playing with fire. Every time he gets close to the throne at Spencer Publications, the floor falls out from under him. The sources mention how Wyatt once had to use Katie as a shoulder to cry on, because he was so devastated at being passed over for the CEO spot. Bill uses the job like a carrot on a stick. He lets Wyatt get a little taste of the power, and then he jerks it away the moment Wyatt shows a hint of backbone. It's a toxic cycle of professional gaslighting. Why would Wyatt want to be part of a company where his job security depends on his father's mood, or his father's latest romantic obsession? It makes me wonder, does Wyatt actually like the business, or does he just like the idea of Bill liking him? The emotional insight here for Katie is also huge. She is the one Wyatt would be working with. Bill is putting his son and his ex-wife in a high-pressure, glamorous environment together. Does Bill really think Waddy won't have a comeback? Or is he so arrogant that he thinks he has already broken them both? Katie is trying to play the long game, building her own brand. But Wyatt is the wild card. If he takes this job, he is putting his and Katie's peace of mind at risk. It's almost like Bill is setting up a stress test for them. He wants to see if they'll break again. It's a cruel experimental way to run a business and a family. Don't you think Bill knows exactly what he's doing by putting them in that office together? Psychologically, Wyatt seems to suffer from what they call a repetition compulsion. He keeps going back to the source of his trauma, his father, hoping for a different result. He wants that happily ever after, where Bill puts his hand on Wyatt's shoulder and says, "You're the one, son." But Bill isn't capable of that. Bill's love is conditional. It's tied to loyalty, and not just loyalty to the company, but loyalty to Bill's specific whims. Wyatt's desire for the Spencer throne is actually a desire for a father's love that doesn't exist in the way he wants it to. It's a heartbreaking loop of a son trying to win a game that was rigged before he even sat down. Do you think Wyatt will ever realize he can't win this game? Now let's look at the escalation we are already seeing. Bill is appreciating Katie again, but he's also using Wyatt as a strategist. This creates a massive conflict of interest. If Wyatt sees Bill manipulating Katie through this fashion line, what is he going to do? If he speaks up, he loses his job. If he stays silent, he betrays the woman he once loved. This isn't just a corporate job. It's a moral minefield. The tension is already building because Ridge and Brooke are furious about the Logan expansion. Wyatt is being dropped right into the center of a three-way family feud. It's going to get much worse before it gets better. And I personally don't think Wyatt has the stomach for it. The unreliability of Bill's promises is a documented fact. Remember, Wyatt once thought he had a legal document ensuring his future. But documents like that can be overridden with a single phone call or a new development in the company. In the world of the Spencers, a contract is about as solid as a sandcastle. Bill is always several steps ahead. He probably has a plan B to dump Wyatt the second the Forrester War is won. Wyatt is a temporary solution to a temporary problem for Bill. The Fox nickname exists for a reason, and Wyatt should remember that before he signs anything. Do you really believe Bill would ever step down and give Wyatt the keys to the kingdom? My interpretation of the Hope Diamond move is that it's actually a trap for Hope Logan too. By using Wyatt to reclaim the Diamond's legacy, Bill is trying to make Hope feel like she belongs to the Spencer-Logan alliance. Wyatt is being used as the bait. He is the friendly face that makes this corporate takeover feel like a family reunion. But make no mistake, this is a takeover. Bill wants to own the Hope for the Future brand, and Wyatt is the architect he's hired to build the cage. It's a brilliant move by Bill, but it's a devastating one for Wyatt's soul. He's helping his father trap the people he cares about. We also have to consider the Liam factor. Liam is always the specter of the preferred son. If Wyatt takes this job and succeeds, will Bill finally put him above Liam? History says no. Liam is Bill's emotional anchor, while Wyatt is his corporate enforcer. No matter how many diamonds Wyatt designs, he will likely always be the second fiddle. That realization is going to hit Wyatt like a ton of bricks once the initial excitement of being back in the CEO's orbit wears off. He's chasing a ghost, and he's going to end up disappointed just like every other time. Why does Wyatt keep setting himself up for this kind of letdown? Let's talk about the physical manifestation of Bill's control, the sword necklace. When Bill tore that off Wyatt's neck, it was a symbolic reigniting. It was a ritual to show that Wyatt was nothing without the Spencer name. By offering him a job now, Bill is essentially saying, I'll let you wear the armor again, but only if you follow my orders. It's a power dynamic that is completely lopsided. Wyatt isn't a partner, he's a vassal. If he trusts this offer, he is agreeing to be reignited by a king who has already proven he will strip you of your rank the moment you disagree with him. It's a very dangerous position to be in. So what do you think? Was Wyatt wrong to ever date Katie in the first place? Or is Bill the one who is out of line for trying to control who his adult son falls in love with? It's a tough one. On one hand, the family connection is definitely cringe for some people. But on the other hand, Bill is such a hypocrite. He slept with his own daughter-in-law, Steffi, but he draws the line at Wyatt and Katie? It just doesn't add up. If they do get back together, do you think they can actually survive Bill's wrath this time around? Or are they just going to end up broken-hearted again? Personally, I'd love to see Wyatt finally stand up to his dad and stay standing. He's always been the one trying to earn a respect that Bill just isn't capable of giving. Maybe the Hope Diamond move is exactly what Wyatt needs to finally step out of the shadow and be his own man. If you are as obsessed with this Spencer drama as I am, you definitely need to stick around. We are watching every spoiler and every hint of a Waddy reunion very closely. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive into the latest betrayals. Also, give this video a like if you think Wyatt and Katie were actually a good couple. And please, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think Bill is making a massive mistake by having them work together again? Let's talk about it down there. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one when more of these secrets inevitably come out.